Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on this absolutely beautiful day. Hopefully, you're getting the sunshine that we are wherever you're coming in from. First and foremost, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Colleen DeLang. I am the Director of Education here at my role source. A little bit about why I teach many of these classes is I've also been a realtor myself for 24 years now. Makes me feel old when I say it like that. But I'm really going to take you through some time saving tips and some of the things you're going to want to know about using mobile technology. And basically, we call this kind of the mobile everything you need to know on the go class because I think we've all been in those situations with a fast paced market like we're seeing right now where we need to be able to write an entire transaction while we're standing in the kitchen. We want to be able to schedule showings. I'm going to show you some the new interface for showing time. We want to be able to quickly pull out our phones and measure our rooms within 5 to 8 minutes. I'm going to show you some things in Kubacasa so you can create a great floor plan and get measurements. We're also going to talk about the new Paragon Connect app that you can actually download and start using. So we're going to kind of break this down into 4 different products, if you will. But if you know me, I wish I was standing in front of you. I like to do these things a little more interactive, and trust me, it's very hard to show technology, real estate technology, and especially on a mobile app. But that's actually what I'm going to take you through today. I'm actually going to show it on my phone so you can actually see most of these programs firsthand and see exactly how they work. As an agent, PowerPoints are great, and I'm going to use a little bit of an opener PowerPoint, but I really like to see how is it going to respond? Is it going to be easy? And so really, I think the easiest thing to do is take you through a lot of this live. And so that's what we're going to do. Today, though, because I don't get to stand in front of you and meet you in person, I would still love it if you could put your questions in the question box. So don't feel like just because we're not in person that you can't ask questions, because that's really what this is all about, right? In your GoToWebinar panel, which by now is probably closed or minimized over at the right-hand side of your screen, if you click that orange or red arrow at any time, it'll open up that GoToWebinar panel and you will find that questions box. You'll also find some handouts there as well. But in that questions box, if you just have a question, pop it in there. It'll alert me on my screen, and then I can go ahead and address it for the group. Don't worry, I'm recording this, so if you do have to step away or you do get a call or hopefully you're bottom lining an offer, don't worry, this is recorded and I'm going to show you exactly where you can find this recording at the end of today's session. What I'm going to ask is we've only got a few people logging in so far, so if I could have just one person pop into that questions box and just let me know that you can see me and hear me okay. There's nothing worse than actually being 10 minutes into a webinar and finding out nobody's even hearing you, right? And so if I could just have Alicia or Holly, if you could just pop in that questions box, yeah, we can hear you and see you, then we can go ahead and get started. All right. Thank you so much, Holly. I really appreciate it. Like I said, there's nothing worse than finding out you're recording and there's no sound or some weird thing. It's technology. So I've been using GoToWebinar, I think, for close to 15 years now. It usually doesn't fail me, but every once in a while, there'll be some kind of craziness. So I appreciate you letting me know. Great. Thank you so much, Alicia. I appreciate it. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn off my fuzzy hair so we can get more into our first product. And again, I'm going to kind of give you an overview of each product, tell you a little bit about it, and then we're going to actually look at it live on our phone. It takes me a couple seconds to switch over. So I'm going to do some of the PowerPoint stuff first, just to kind of gear you in the right direction of where we're going. All right. So I am going to turn, like I said, I'm going to turn off my fuzzy hair so you can see more of what we're going to look at. So the first product we're going to look at today is Kubacasa. And again, this is really a class geared all about the apps that you should have on your phone and how you can be completely mobile. Kubacasa is one of our latest products. It is a free member benefit. And what I mean by that is I get asked this constantly. Well, Colleen, what if I want to do 26 scans? Well, you can scan as many properties as you want. The only time that there is a charge with Kubacasa is if you go over 5,000 square feet. It's like $11 if you have a luxury listing and yeah, it's over 5,000 square feet. That would be the only time there's a charge. And I'm going to show you exactly why. I'm going to show you what Cuba Casa is. When I first heard Cuba Casa, I was kind of like, what the heck is that? What is Cuba Casa? But it's kind of, if you think about the actual name, cubic is obviously measuring, right? And casa is house. It's actually measuring and creating a floor plan of your listings for you. Now, I've been using Cuba Casa for I think about a little over a year now. I've scanned 13 listings with it, and I have to tell you, I love it. It is super easy. My average scan is between 5 and 8 minutes. It's a continuous, it's literally just walking through the listing. What I tell people is the hardest part is remembering to open up the doors and turn on the lights ahead of time. Because literally, once you start the app, it's a continuous walkthrough of the property. It will actually return a rendering, something like this. I'm actually going to show you the actual what comes back to you. You get them in less than 24 hours. If you need them quicker, you can pay. There's an upcharge that you can pay to get it quicker. It's $11.25 if you need it in 12 hours. But I love this because most of mine have actually come back in 12 hours. What happens is if I go on a listing appointment, let's say it's 6 o'clock tonight, by the time I'm entering my listing in the next day, the next morning, I usually have my scan back. I don't have to measure the rooms any longer. I don't have to use those stupid red dot tape measures where you're putting it on the wall, or if you have another app that's not so accurate. I've used some of those. I'm so old that I remember actually giving the seller the other half of the tape measure and measuring the rooms that way. So this is way more convenient. Again, 5 to 8 minutes, and I have to tell you, it is spot on. I actually built my home 21 years ago, and I went in and I looked at my floor plan because I wanted to see, well, how accurate is this? It was amazingly accurate. So we're going to kind of just talk about Cuba Casa, and I'm going to kind of show you this live. I know some of our other instructors get a little nervous when they show things live on their phone, but I kind of like to see, what does it look like? So for me, when I was looking at Cuba Casa, I didn't really understand what was the need for Cuba Casa, but then I found out that in the US, we actually have less than 10% of our listings across the country that have floor plans. Where in Europe, they're a little way ahead of us because they actually have floor plans on 90% of their listings. And why is that really so important? Well, let's face it, these days, IDX sites like Zillow, Realtor.com, they're showing all of the photos, but a lot of times our buyers really want to know the floor plan. Is the floor plan going to be conducive to their lifestyle? Maybe they want to have a kitchen that's close to the great room so they can entertain and be with their family while they cook. The whole idea is now consumers want to be able to walk through the houses and get a better understanding of what that layout is going to be. Another thing I've noticed, especially in luxury listings, sometimes luxury listings will have 3 kitchens. There may be a beautiful finished basement with a kitchen. There may be obviously a main level kitchen, and maybe they have a mother-in-law's quarters, or maybe they have a butler's pantry with a small kitchen or kitchen area as well. A lot of times agents aren't really clear when they're putting those photos in. This is the main level kitchen, and then the consumer, the buyer, gets there and they're like, oh, I thought this kitchen was, on the main level. It's actually the finished basement kitchen. And so this allows you to actually create a floor plan that gives a lot more detail. It can be sent out to those IDX sites like Zillow, Realtor.com, anywhere that your listing is syndicated to. Another thing is buyers now want to know those room measurements when your listing goes live. I literally just helped a first-time home buying couple. Their biggest concern, I kid you not, can't make this stuff up, their biggest concern was the bedroom set that their mother gave them going to fit? It was a huge poster bed. That was their biggest concern in looking at homes, is our poster bed going to fit in the master bedroom? So having not only the layout, but those room sizes so that they can quickly see it just makes it that much easier. course, this is going to help you stand out with your listings. It's going to make sure that we're getting more buyers who would be interested in that layout in through our listings, and it's going to help reduce market time. We don't have to have a million people in. We just want to make sure it's the right listing when they're looking at that layout and that floor plan and those room measurements. So as I mentioned, I'm going to show you this live because I know that was my big concern is, well, what does it actually look like live, Colleen? It's so easy. Even my 11-year-old son was able to walk through our house and do it. I kind of wanted to just say, how easy is this? And it's literally walking through the house after opening up your app. It gives you some very, very simple instructions, and it lets you know if you're moving too fast or maybe if you're too close to walls. So we're going to take a look at that. Literally, this is kind of an example of what you're going to see when we go live. They've actually made one improvement now. You don't even have to use it landscape. It used to be that you had to use it landscape. So you would twist your phone as you're seeing there. They've now improved it so you can actually just use it as you would traditionally use your phone. So you can do it in that portrait mode, and literally you're opening it. It's asking you what type of residence. Is it a multifamily? Is it a single family residential? Or is it apartment style condos? Once you tell it that, it's going to find the address of where you're standing, and it's going to allow you to start your scan. So it's really that easy. I know I'm making it sound easy, and that's really because it is. Go ahead and just kind of jump to the next thing. So we looked at a lot of different apps for floor plans. We looked at Flow Plan. We looked at, I think, 7 of them in total. There were a few things that none of them did. One, Flow Plan did not give you the rights, the exclusive rights to what you were taking. They were actually reselling that to other brokers and other companies, and you never know where that's going to end up, right? The other thing it didn't do is some of these others did not do any outside structures. And I love this. I thought this was a really good example. If you have a property, let's say with a kidney-shaped pool, or it has an outbuilding, you can even include those in your scans. So it will show if there's a patio, if there is a deck, if there is, in this case, the kidney-shaped pool. You can see all you had to do was walk around that pool, and it's actually tracing that as well as that outbuilding. Another thing I loved that this did beautifully was curved walls. I don't know if you've ever tried to measure a home with curved walls, but holy cow, it is very hard because it's very tough to get an accurate measurement. It's not like you can stand across the room, right, and focus the laser beam and get that exact measurement. It doesn't work like that. And so Kubicasa actually measures those perfect curved walls. And I kid you not, I did not make this up. This is an actual example. It's an Airbnb in the shape of a shoe that they literally did the Kubicasa inside, and you can see all of those walls are curved, and yet it measured them, each room beautifully. Without taking too much time. It'll even show you things like which way the stairs go, up or down. It'll even show you the way that the door opens. Does it swing inside or outside of the room? So it gives a great level of detail. So as I mentioned, the details are basically, it is a 24-hour turnaround, but I have to be honest, I've gotten most of mine in 12. Once you get those back, you can edit the names of the rooms. So let's say you started off and it labeled it kitchen, but really this area is more of the butler's pantry. You can actually go in and relabel that room. You can also change the color. So maybe you want to show all the area of the finished basement. By the way, you can do basements. You can do every single level. As you can see, they've even done a porch here, but you can do basements. And if you wanted to show, let's say, the square footage that was finished in one color versus the unfinished area in another color, so it's easy to identify. Or a lot of my friends will color coordinate all the bedrooms blue and the bathrooms they might make yellow, so they easily stand out as they're going through the photos in the MLS. They can also see very quickly how many beds, how many bathrooms, what, again, that square footage that may be finished or unfinished in the basement. If you go over the 5,000 square feet, so there's, of course, everything has an upsell. I have not gone over my 5,000 yet. And like I said, I've done 13 different listings, but I also don't have huge high-end listings like some people are lucky enough to have. But if you go over the 5,000 square feet, it's normally $15, but you get 25% off as a My Real Source member. So when you sign up for Kubicasa, which by the way, I'm going to show you how to sign up today too. When you sign up through Kubicasa, you get all the extras, which as you can see are about $15. You get those for $11.25. But you can do unlimited scans. And as long as you don't go over 5,000 square feet, then you're never charged a penny. So you can do as many as you want. There's no sign up fee. There's no setup fee. There's no app fee, nothing like that. But there is a particular way you have to sign up to make sure that you get all the My Real Source benefits, the free scans and all the extras. So if you wanted to add a fixed furniture, like where the tub sits, where the fireplace is, where the cupboards are, you can add that on. Again, $15 works out to be $11.25 after your 25% discount. If you're an appraiser and you need that GLA appraisal software scan, which actually does it out on the schematic, kind of like that block sketch paper with the required calculations that they send to the bank, that again, the cost would be $15, works out to be $11.25. If you need a 6-hour delivery, so let's say 24 hours is, mine have come back in about 12, but let's say you need that 6-hour delivery, then there is that $11.25 fee. Now, let me clarify why there is a fee, because I was kind of like, well, why is there a fee? If it's all being done, if it's all being generated, what does it matter if it's a bigger square footage? And here's why there is an additional fee if they need a faster turnaround or if the square footage is over 5,000 square feet. Because I had to ask the question. I was kind of like, so why would there be a fee if it's just software? This particular company that we chose, another reason that we chose them was because a human actually reviews the scan. So, and why this is so important and what other companies did not do this, and they weren't as accurate. So this is the reason that we went with Kubicasa. When you're going through, let's say you started walking, kind of went very quickly and maybe missed an area. A human can actually eyeball that. Or let's say you dropped your phone and you picked it back up. A human can identify, did you pick that phone up in the same area, in that same room, or did you grab it, or kick it into the next room? And now, so an actual human can actually splice that scan together to make sure that they get the whole picture. They're also the ones who put the temporary room names in case you, like I said, if you don't like them, you can always change them if you wanted to make it something different. But it's an actual human who does the final review of the scan. So the scan and the webbing that I'm going to show you, that's actually done all through the software. However, the human piecing it together is really what makes it so perfect and so detailed. So that's why there's an additional fee if you wanted it within 6 hours, because of human. They have humans all over. This was actually started in Norway, one of my favorite places. I've traveled there before, and it's just beautiful. It was started in Norway, but now they have humans all over the globe that actually see these scans and put them together. So my average turnaround time is, like I said, about 12 hours. They have up to 24 hours, but if you need it quicker, you can get those too. And I just like the fact that we don't have to measure anymore. We like it so much, and I found that it's so accurate here at My Real Source. We've actually added, when you're adding in your listing now, in the drop down, when you click on it, it says source of square footage. You can pick realist, public records. There's a couple other choices in there, and one of them now is Kubicasa, because if you're getting your square footage from Kubicasa, you want to be able to say this is the source that I took it from, so they know it didn't come from public records or somewhere else. So I love it. I think it's been extremely accurate. As you can tell, I'm kind of a huge fan of it, but I'm going to show it to you live so you can kind of judge for yourself. You can do your own house. Does not have to be a listed property. If you're like me, I never want to be embarrassed in front of a seller, especially these days. We need every listing we can get. So I did my house first before I ever took it to a seller's house. I wanted to see how accurate is it, so I could pull out my floor plan and actually see. I also wanted to see how long does it take? Is it easy? Am I going to have to start and stop a lot? How is it going to work? And again, I'm going to take you through this live as well. But going through. So just a couple more things to keep in mind. You do have to sign up through us so that you get all of those benefits. They do have other things you can add on, like 2Ds and 3D tours. But as I mentioned, I think the real caveat is that it's just easy. Here's kind of what that finished. Once you get your renderings back, you can add your logo. You can add those color schemes. As I mentioned, this agent actually did the bedrooms in one color, baths in another color. That also gives you the ability to edit. They have 24-hour customer service. And to sign up, this is how easy it is. All you're going to do is sign up for your account. You are going to start scanning and then get your floor plan back. Where do you sign up though so that you get all the benefits? You're actually going to sign up under resources. So right inside of Paragon, you're going to find under your tools, you'll see Cuba Casa floor plans. Again, all you have to do is click on it. It will ask you, you want to make sure that you select my rule source so you get everything that we worked out. Even if you're with a vendored MLS that we vendor, you'd still want to select my rule source because that's what's going to give you those incentives and that 25% off on everything additional. And then from there, it's going to ask you, are you an agent or an appraiser? You do want to pick agent so you get all the agent bells and whistles. From there, it will send an email to your phone. All you need to do is just click on download the app. And that's actually what the app looks like that you're seeing right there. So it's really, really simple. But as I mentioned, as an agent, one of the things I like to do is I really like to kind of see it myself. I know I can tell you how great it is, but unless you've actually seen it, it's probably would make you a little nervous, like, do I want to use that? So I'm going to try to do a lot of these things right on my actual phone. I'm going to just apologize ahead of time because sometimes real estate technology can only do so much. You can only make it so fun, but I think it's a little bit easier, in my opinion, when you can actually see it. So I'm going to attempt to share my phone so that you can see it and go from there. So I'm going to just do my sharing. Hopefully you're able to see this in a second. Sorry, I'm getting over a little cold, so if you hear me, there we go. All right, and you should be able to see that now. All right. While I'm saying that, let me actually go in and just verify that you can see that the same way. Okay, good. I'm going to just share that screen just so it's not so, let's do this. I'm going to just share that so it's kind of a little bit more not so distracting with everything in my background. So hopefully you're seeing my screen and you're seeing the phone okay. So the first thing that I do, just because I am always kind of I don't like to be fumbling, and especially in front of buyers. I don't want to fumble to find my lockbox apps when I'm trying to open the door, right? We got our purse in our hand, or you got your stuff in your hand. You're trying to get the lockbox open. I just need the showing time. If you're using Master Lock, you just need showing time, which is really nice. You just click the lock button, it pops right open for you. If you're using Central Lock, obviously you're trying to find that. So I'm really easy to just make a real estate folder. And I just call it real estate. And this keeps all of the apps for me so I don't have to fumble around when I'm trying to find everything from my rate sheet from my title company to Paragon Connect to I use a digital business card called Apple, which I love. It's kind of, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a QR code that people can scan and put your whole contact right on their phone so they can save it and they don't lose it. I also have access to Central Lock. I am a huge fan of Master Lock. That's the one I predominantly use on all of my listings. I also use a sign company that literally you can stand and pinpoint exactly where you want your sign. So if you've got a big corner lot and you want it really close to the road, I can actually stand and pin it. So the apps are endless, right? But you want to make sure that you've got things like showing time, transaction desk, Paragon Connect, and Kubacasa right on your phone. Those are the four we're going to cover today, but those are the four that are really imperative these days when we're doing our business. So Kubacasa looks just like this. As you can see on your screen, the first question that it's going to ask you is what space are you scanning? So right here is where I can go back. I can see my previous orders. You can watch a quick 2-minute video on how to scan. So if you get a little nervous, need a little help, that's there. You can always go back to this video too, don't worry. But you can also just click scan a space. Now, obviously, it needs to know what type of space. Is it going to be, a condo? Is it going to be a townhouse? In New York, it could be an apartment style. We don't have a whole lot of apartments that we do here, but a single family. It just wants to know because it needs to know if you're very close to another unit. Well, that obviously may have a completely separate address. So that's why it's asking. So I'm going to say I want to do my single family home. Immediately, what you notice is it actually just found my address that I'm sitting in. If it's not the right address, of course, there's that little pencil icon next to it, so you can change that address or if you need to put a suite number in. But I'm going to go ahead and confirm that. And then it's going to just give you, I call them some pretty basic instructions, but I say it's so easy a chimp could do it. Basically, you're going to focus on the floor. So you're going to angle toward the floor. You're not going to move fast because it will tell you you're moving too fast or you're too close. It will tell you, while you're scanning, don't start moving furniture. And by the way, this is going to look past if there's boxes or matter of fact, I have a little OCD, to be totally honest with you. And when we started beta testing this, my son was doing something for school where we were boxing up packages and we had to take them back to and I had boxes literally everywhere. And I'm like, this is the worst possible day for me to test this. But actually, it wasn't because it's not looking at the clutter. It's not looking at the furniture. It's actually going to use a web design to measure the room. So it doesn't even matter if you've got boxes or things like that, which I know it seems hard to believe, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. And then all you're going to want to do is remember, you don't want to scan the same room twice. You want to do this in a continuum. There's no pause button, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So you want to do this in a continuous motion. There's no way to pause it and go back. So you're going to start at one end of the house and just work your way around. Now, my home is 3 stories, so I started at the top left hand and just did every room. Also, you can go down. I did my basement as well. Looks like we've got a question. When it's asking for your MLS login, is that yes? So that is your MLS login is your username. Usually it starts with an MIR, usually all lowercase MIR. That's going to be your MLS login ID. So it's asking for your username. You do want to make sure you've selected that you are an agent. And you do want to make sure that it may ask for, I believe it asks for your email address as well. So you want to make sure, and that is the email address that you have inside of Paradigm, the one that you're using in the MLS. So that's very important as well. So really good question. Thank you, Holly. All right, so going back, go back to where we were. All right, so once you understand exactly how you're going to be doing your scan, that's how easy it is. So now all it really wants to do is record. And again, I'm going to try to show you this live. What I recommend is make sure when you're doing this, you kind of have your blinds open and you have all the lights on and the doors open. So I'm going to kind of show you a real life scan of my office. So please try to overlook the papers and mess. But as you can see, I am now just walking kind of through the office, and hopefully you're able to see this on the, since I'm doing it right from my phone, but you see those web lines that you're looking at? That web line is actually measuring the size of this room. If you don't see the web lines, by the way, do not worry. It's still doing the same thing. You will only see the web lines that you're seeing here if you have the 3 basically, if it's a Pro phone, like this happens to be I think it's a 12 Pro. By the way, anything 12 Pro and up will have the web lines, as long as you have those 3 circle dots. This will work with just about any phone. It doesn't have to be an iPhone. It can be an Android. But as you can see, I'm literally just doing a continuous scan. If I go too fast, it will tell me. I'm going to walk into the next area. And this is why you want to have the doors open. You see how it said, okay, you're too close. So really, I want to have the doors open. It's now doing that web scan. So it's measuring each room of the home. Oh, I made my son's bed today. Oh, okay. So literally, I am walking through. If I come too close to something, it's going to let me know. You also want to remember. You also want to remember that you want to have these closets open, because you can track into them. You can still measure your closet. So hopefully they kind of gave. Now I would actually do each and every room starting at one location. And then it will simply ask you, are you finished with your scan? I'm not going to do a whole scan because we'd be here for a long period of time, but hopefully you get the idea. You are literally just going in, you're scanning every room, and then you're going to hit yes. And that's when it's going to start sending your scan to that human who can start reviewing it. And then, of course, you will get that final email back. And you also get a rendering without. Now, actually, just show you what you get back. It's probably a little bit easier. So I'm just going to not send this here. We're going to go ahead and stop. And I'm going to actually bounce back here to kind of show you what your finished product looks like. So I'm kind of big in, okay, well, that's great, but what do you actually get? And so again, you're going to be looking at, I'm just going to close these since it's right still, although I'm loving all that sun. You're looking at that 12-hour generally turnaround. They have up to 24, but it generally does not take that long. So I'm just going to pause this real quick and I'm going to show you what you actually get back. And that way you can kind of see it for yourself. I just kind of always like to see it for myself. What's it going to look like? Is it going to be easy? I guess I'm kind of weird like that, but I kind of like to know, what's the finished product look like? So bear with me one second while I find my Kubacasa file. Here we go. All right. So let me just show you this so you can actually see. I just kind of like to see what does it look like when it's finished. So hopefully that makes sense. So I got my email, and all I'm going to do is click view my order. Go ahead and log in here. And it's going to tell me how long it took, what was my square footage. But as you can see, we've now got our floor plan, and you can do it with or without dimensions. So if you are a builder, and people ask me all the time, well, why would you want it without the dimensions? Sometimes builders have different elevations, and so they want to not include the room sizes because elevation C might include a larger, maybe an extra bedroom and a larger floor plan. So you have the choice of whether or not you want to include those room measurements or not. And then what I like is this is my lower level. So I've got the living room, but you see I stepped out. I have kind of a wraparound porch. So I stepped out, I got the porch area, I got the back patio area. It's sketched the shape even of that back patio. Here's my sliding glass door. It actually put the windows in. You can see that these steps are going up. And so I love how it does each floor separately. So that's the floor we were just on with my son's room. And then it does a sketch with all three floors together. And then it shows you what your square footage is. So for my total square footage was 2929. And it tells you that, yes, you've got your 2 floors. It does have a basement. It did have a patio. And then it sends them to you both in PDFs and PNGs and JPEG files. And the reason is PDFs can actually be added to the MLS documents area. So if you wanted to be able to quickly email them out, you could do that. If you wanted to add them as another photo attached to the MLS photos, you could actually put it in the PNG or JPEG. And that way, when people are seeing photos on Zillow and Realtor.com and all these others, those photos are there as well. So hopefully that gave you kind of and it's kind of hard to show. I apologize. It's so easy though. I promise as soon as you download it and you do it one time, you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing since sliced bread. So thank you for kind of letting me kind of do it live. So at least you could see it. I know when I first watched the webinar on it, I thought, well, I wish they'd show it live. And PowerPoint is great, but it's really nice to see how it actually reacts. What can I expect? What am I going to be looking at? So hopefully that kind of helped give you at least an example. And again, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw those in the questions box, and I'll be happy to answer them. All right. Our next product that I want to take a look at, and I'm going to show you some of this on the mobile too, but I kind of want to show you some cool things. It's now integrated right into Paragon. So if you're looking at my screen at this point, you should be able to see, I just want to make sure you guys are able to see this. When you're bouncing back and forth between your phone and your laptop, sometimes I just want to make sure it's changing with me. So at this point, you should be able to see Paragon and the icons across the top. If mine look a little bit different than yours, don't worry. It's simply because you can change these, and I am very ready for spring, but under your user interface, you can change these to all different seasons. Some of them do really funny things. Like there's an 80s one where ET actually flies out over the screen, and there's some nautical ones. There's some really fun ones. So, but what I want to draw your attention to now is Paragon Connect. Now I'm going to tell you, they probably love and hate me at the MLS because I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? I was a huge fan of HomeSnap. I had used HomeSnap for years. I loved HomeSnap. And pretty much everyone across the country who was using Paragon was hooked and sold on the HomeSnap Pro product. HomeSnap allowed you to do things I had not been able to find in any other app, meaning like walking property lines. You could literally be going to a listing and walk the property lines, and it would tell you where to start and stop. It would put arrows on the property so you could actually see it in real time. It was really cool. It did things like it gave you all the contact information for agents all over the state. So you could have a cell phone number. If you're standing in front of a listing and there's no keys in the lockbox, you could immediately access it. You could change the status of your listing. So if you were marking it pending right now, you could just flip open your phone and do that. And it did things that we had been asking for a long, long time. I loved that product. And because that product was so good, really, as I mentioned, most everyone that was using Paragon used that product. Well, there was an acquisition, like so many software companies these days, and a company called CoStar, which if you're familiar with CoStar, they are the makers of the commercial MLS called LoopNet. They are also the owners of apartments.com. You always see Jeff Goldblum, on TV doing the apartments.com ads. So basically CoStar has even more money than Zillow, believe it or not, because Zillow, when it comes to having the most money in the industry, they're always known to be, at the top. But CoStar actually wanted to sort of give Zillow kind of a run up for their money. So they decided they were going to purchase apartments.com, homes.com. They were going to purchase HomeSnap. And they were going to make this dashboard, and I promise I'm going somewhere with this story. They're going to make this dashboard for the consumer, that a consumer on this same dashboard could find a home, could find an apartment, could utilize commercial services. And so they began to do this. They purchased HomeSnap, and we were really excited because HomeSnap was such a great product already, and they killed it. They literally just killed HomeSnap, killed the software, and said, okay, we're going to make it homes.com now. We're going to build the stuff from HomeSnap into homes.com. Well, unfortunately, they did kill it. They killed it first and are building it back into homes.com. But it's taking a really long time. And quite honestly, a lot of the things that we really knew and loved in HomeSnap are not in there yet. And I have to be honest, I'm really not loving it. I hope to find that it gets better and better, and I'm trying to be open-minded, but I just was such a fan of the previous product, it was very hard for me to like something that isn't there yet. So anyway, there are still some things by the way, if you had HomeSnap downloaded, because many years we just stopped teaching this in November when they killed it. But they killed it so fast. Many of us were like, okay, well, what do we do? Because homes.com does not have all the great functionality yet. And Paragon, as I mentioned, really had this so integrated. This was kind of like the Paragon app because it allowed you to search and find everything you needed. It gave you likely to list scores. It had all of this built in. So what Paragon Connect said, or what Paragon said is, okay, now we got to shift gears. They had Paragon Connect as an app, but it was really more of a companion product to what we call the Collab Center in Paragon. And what that means is it was really set up for the intent purpose to, yes, you could do some searching, but it was really set up so you could meet Sally Sue at the grocery store, and Sally Sue could say, you know what, Alicia, I am looking for a 3-bedroom home. I know I said I was going to wait, but we're starting to look now, and I'm hoping you can help us. We're looking for a 3-bedroom home in Sterling Heights. Here's our price range. Can you find us anything? Paragon Connect was set up to be where you could literally do that on the app while you were talking to her. Very easily set up her search with her criteria. And while you were talking to her, she could get the welcome email in front of you so you could actually start seeing properties right away. That was really what it was designed for. But, and where my story concludes now is now that HomeSnap was killed, and there was, by the way, there was only like 2 or 3 months notice that it was going to, they said it was just going to be changed. It was not changed. It was actually killed and then in favor of this homes.com. So do I use homes.com for some things? Yeah, if you've had HomeSnap downloaded, it will automatically take you into the new homes.com. Do I still look up contact information for other agents in there? Yes. Can I still search by school building? Yes. And that's probably what I use it for. Those 2 things probably are all I use it for now. Now, Paragon said, okay, well, let's make Connect, which started off as an enhancement piece to the Collab Center on your phone so you could talk to Sally Sue at the grocery store. Let's make that a full-blown mobile app. And so that's actually what they did. So it is available through the App Store, and it is available through the Google Play Store. So whether you're an Android user or an iPhone user, it's still going to work for you. There is another MLS that adopted it that is telling people it is not an app. And that is true in their case because they did not pay the money to have all the app services and to be able to download it there, but it is an app for us. So I know it's kind of confusing. A lot of other MLSs are like, oh no, it's not really an app that you can download. And that's because they didn't want to pay the premiums for all the bells and whistles that come with it. So here's what I'm going to tell you. If you have not downloaded Paragon Connect, you want to go to your App Store or your Google Play Store and you want to download it from there. Once it's on your phone, you will have all the native functionality that will give you like those notifications, those push notifications. Now, do I think that it's the perfect app? You're all fail-safe like HomeSnap? No. Do I think it's getting radically better in the couple of months that they've had to totally shift gears and make it? Yes, and there are some things that you can't do, you couldn't even do in HomeSnap, by the way, that you now can do in Paragon Connect. I'm going to give you an example. In Paragon Connect, you can literally edit any field of your listing. So I can realize, let's say I'm out on the go and I want to mark it pending. I could do that in HomeSnap, but that was all I could do. I could just mark it pending or active, or I could change the price. Those were the only things, and I think the comments, you could change the comments. Now you can go into any of your 300 fields in your listing and you can edit it, change it, fix it if you need to. That is something that you could only do in Paragon Connect. You can also, there's some great photo editing tools. So if you have your listing, let's say you started your listing, it's a partial in Paragon, you and your phone took the actual pictures for your listing. You can actually upload your listing photos from your phone now. And you can use some great editing software to change the light, or let's say you want to add more aperture or more light to that's not even in Paragon, but you can do it from your phone. So there are some very cool things here. I'm on the user committee for it to try to get it to advance even faster. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show it to you on my desktop just so I don't have to switch over. It is the same on your desktop as it is your phone. Same functionality. It's just obviously smaller on your phone because it's going to format to that screen size. So where, if you want to start playing around with it, what I would recommend is go right into Paragon and actually click the new Paragon Connect button. This is a great way to start playing around with it. And then when you go to your phone, it's going to be all of the same. It's just a little easier, I think, to kind of get familiar with it if you use the button. So I'm going to click the button. Just going to make sure that it's following me and that's still on my phone. Okay, perfect. So the first enhancement that I've asked is I wanted a mobile app, in my opinion, should open to the map. So that is one of the first enhancements that we're working with them to make is remember, this was supposed to really be designed to work with your buyers. And as you can see, it opens to your buyer screen. But now that it's going to be a full-on mobile app, what I wanted to do is I wanted to open to the map because that's what we predominantly use a mobile app for. So in order to just, it's one click to open to your map. Over here where you're seeing my mouse, where you've got that kind of looks like the locate me button, that's exactly what it's going to do. When you click on that, it's going to find the whole United States, which is not local to me. And then it will ask you, can we use your, basically, can we use your location on your phone or your laptop? It needs your permission to hone in where you are, right? Because that's a privacy setting. So I'm going to say, yes, I want it to hone in to where I am. I'm going to click those allow services. And then it's now going to be able to say, okay, you are sitting right here. Okay, so not hard to open to the map, but I'm really pushing because in my realtor mind, every mobile app should open to the map. So, but remember, it really wasn't designed for that, and we're having to pivot due to the that acquisition and killing off HomeSnap because HomeSnap it did open to the map and it did allow you to search with your finger, which you can do here too. But let's talk about how we're going to go forward here. So now we know where we are. How do we see that information? Well, if you're with a buyer right now and you want to start searching, there is obviously the filtering at the top. So I'm going to click that filter. This is where I'm going to put in my criteria. What is the buyer looking for? And if you don't know what goes in a particular field, you can simply hit that little drop down and I can say, oh, well, actually, they're looking for a condo or they're looking for a single family home. I'm going to apply that to my search criteria. He's not looking for rentals. He's just looking properties that are for sale. By the way, you can save these in here. A lot of them I've saved because I'm not very often, or not very often, am I looking for leases, right? I'm usually looking for clients to help them find a home. So you can put your defaults right in here. What county, what area, basically you're just filling in what your buyer's looking for, right? And the nice thing is, again, you have all of your MLS fields that you can search on here. You obviously put in your asking price, the municipality, school district, all the important things are right where you need them. So hopefully that's kind of making sense. So now I want to go ahead and I want to apply my criteria. I'm not looking for closed properties. I'm just looking for things that are going to be active. And I can go ahead now and click into where I am, and I didn't apply my active, but where I am so that I can actually show you some of the features when you open up a listing. Unfortunately, there is nothing active in my sub where I'm sitting. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of just walk you through what you're going to see when you go into the listing. So of course, you're going to be able to do that map view to see where the home is. And of course, that Google Street View so that you can walk down the street and check out the whole neighborhood right from your phone. You obviously can go through the photos. So I click through and do the gallery view here. and I can see all of the photos that are in the MLS. So again, behaving like you would expect for most mobile apps. Again, I can see the legal description, but I can quickly share this. Maybe I want to go ahead and I want to share it out to Facebook, or maybe I just want to copy the link and paste it into a message for someone. Or maybe I want to email this particular home to a client. I can do that right from here. So the easy share button, I love. I think it makes it just a lot, it makes more sense, right? To be able to share it right from looking at the listing. Oh, yeah, this is one I want to send Sally Sue. If you are looking for more of the resources for a particular listing, so just like in Paragon, so try to think of it this way, just like in Paragon, you have your resources. So we've got our resources where we have all of our, we always kind of try to think of this like the agent toolbox, right? You have the same resources right inside of Paragon Connect. So if I go to those third-party integrations, and by the way, that's actually what it looks like. It looks like it's feeding to other parties. That's what it's supposed to be. So if you click on that third-party integration, that's where I could say, oh, you know what? I want to see the tax information on this, or I want to make a cloud flyer for my upcoming open house, or things like that. So if I want to see the realist tax information for this particular property, instead of going and hunting it down somewhere else, I can literally click on Realist and I can go right into my Realist dashboard. On your phone, it's even easier. It just actually opens up to the report. But I can see now right from that listing who owns the property, what's the square footage, walkable scores, sell scores, things like that. I can see very quickly what the legal description is, what the taxes are. I can see all the characteristics, how many bedrooms, how many baths, what's the level, does it have a basement, is it finished? I can see all of that right from my realist record. So you're going to find that again right in your third party products. And the nice thing is it's again going to show you, the lot size. It will give you that property map. So I can do all of that right from Paragon Connect. So let me just show you where we went for that again. If you wanted to schedule, let's say it was an active property and you wanted to schedule a showing, we'll go right into showing time. You wanted a neighborhood report. I personally don't love those, but if you are into the neighborhood reports, you can do that. You can do property details from RPR. Again, going into Cloud CMA to make your Cloud CMA flyers. You can do all of that right from here. Okay. If you wanted to create driving directions to a property that you could send over to your client, you can click on that little, it kind of looks like a little street map here. And you can actually send driving directions to a buyer. Maybe you're going to show a couple houses and you wanted to create driving directions. You can actually you can leave it your location, or you can put where they're coming from if you happen to know that. And you can put more than one. So maybe you have a couple listings that you're going to be showing. You can actually add the other property in here as well. And then you can click send driving directions to your phone, or you can even copy that right from your phone and paste it into a message and send it to your buyer. So it makes it very easy. Remember, it's trying to make it easy so that you can work with your buyer and send properties out to your buyer, search with your buyer in tow, and then easily create ways to show those properties and then create those driving directions. So they're not calling you saying, hey, Alitra, which one was first again? Which one are we seeing third? Well, remember, you know how that is. It can be a little maddening, so it's an easier way. The hamburger stack over here to the left is going to just give you, if you wanted to go directly into resources, just like with the traditional Paragon, you can do that. You can go in and obviously see your listings very easily from here, access your contacts from here. So it's just kind of a way to navigate. Think of this as kind of your navigation pane into properties. All right, so let's take a look at this active one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that $400,000 listing. So this is, by the way, this is not really it's a new construction, new build. It's kind of a hole in the dirt right now. That's why I said there's not a lot of photos and things to show you in my neighborhood right at this moment. But I do want to show you a couple cool things that you can do right from here. You can recommend this to a client. As I mentioned, you've got the third party integrations here. You could go ahead and print this off if you still like the old printable versions. And by the way, you can go in and when you print it out, you can also print which parts you want to send to a client or what you want to print off. There's different reports that you can choose from. You can do a client report, or you can do an agent report. So it gives you a couple choices there. But the one I like the most is if this is your listing, you can, as I mentioned, you can edit anything from your phone. Now, I have not found that you can do this in any other app. Again, you could even do that in HomeSnap, being able to see the full set of fields that you have. So if I want to go in and I want to edit that listing, I can click edit. And basically, that's exactly what it's doing, is opening up every single field you can find. If you don't want to search through all of those fields to find the one you're looking for, you can hit find and type it in and it will take you there. But let's say you wanted to change something in your remarks. You can simply open that remarks area. You could change your showing instructions, your agent remarks, your public remarks. Remember, you can do this right from your phone. So it really does now give us the ability to change anything we need to. So if you're sitting on this webinar and you're thinking, well, I just bottom line that offer, I should mark it pending. We now have the ability to do all of those things. Where before in HomeSnap, as I mentioned, you could only do status change, price change, and comments. Now you can change anything. So if you realized, oh, I put the wrong legal description in, or, oh, I didn't put the room measurements in, I got my Kubacasa back, I want to go ahead and put those in. You can do it while you're sitting, at your kid's baseball game. You can go into rooms, you can add them in right here. And it really makes it that much easier. And by the way, you can see your partials and published listings. So you can see active listings in the MLS as well as your partials. So I'm going to be honest, as an agent, I'm never going to put an entire listing in on my phone because that would make me crazy. But if I have used the data sheet, I got most of the information in, I push it to a partial, and I just want to finish it up on my phone while I'm waiting at a doctor appointment or my kid's baseball game, this is a great tool, right? We can finish listings and make them live from our phones. That's the key. So again, you can see over here, published versus part. If I had a partial, I can go ahead and actually finish my partials. The other thing is underneath that, the three dots, you can add your tours. If you had somebody just email you their, let's say on your phone, they just emailed you their seller's disclosure statement, or they just emailed you, their signed listing agreement, you can actually pull them in right from your phone and upload them. So if they're in your email, again, you're sitting at the doctor's office and you're like, oh, just got those seller's disclosures, no reason to send those off to your admins any longer. You can actually upload them yourself right to your listing or even your partial listing. You can go in, you can add open houses, you can add broker tours, very similar. You can see open houses if they're scheduled on here as well. He does not have an open house because, again, this particular one, you couldn't really have an open house because it's kind of a big hole in the ground. So I'm going to click on that hamburger stack. But again, you can also validate where the pin is. And this is really important when you're adding a listing in. So many, like the Collab Center, like this, like Zillow, like Realtor.com. So many times our buyers today are using their fingertip on a map and they're circling where they want to live. Did you know if you don't validate your listing and make sure that pin is in the right place? Now, it tends to it basically uses the Google Maps and it tends to usually put that pin in the right place. But many times, especially around the water areas, whether it's a man-made lake or it's the Great Lakes or Lake St. Clair, whatever it happens to be, I find around water, the pins get very screwed up. So you do want to look, especially if you have waterfront listings, you do want to look that make sure that pin is actually where it needs to be. And why I say that, you can click on that pin and you can actually move it. That if you're listing and you find it's in the middle of the lake, and it happens, I see it all the time. A listing pin will be in the middle of Lake St. Clair because the agent didn't verify it and it didn't know where the end of the home was versus the shore of the lake. And now you have a listing and they're not searching the lake. They're not circling the lake, right? They're circling the area of lakefront. So they miss your listing altogether. So it's really important that you do move those pins. You do validate where your property is sitting. And sometimes it's sitting across the street and you just need to move it onto the rooftop of your home. It kind of shows you that Google overhead. Very, very easy to do, but make sure that you do that because that is actually how people are finding your listings when they're searching with their fingertip. Editing the listings, let's see, or editing the photos. So as you can see, this is more this house has not been built yet, so it's not the perfect example, but we've got your floor plan in here. We've got our pictures of our the up and coming models that will be there. When you're going in though, if you want to edit your listing, you can give it a label. As I mentioned, you can actually go in and you can actually put labels and descriptions for not every single one of the 99 photos that are in the MLS. So of course you can reorder them. It's a drag and drop process. So if I wanted to move this, I can literally drag and drop it into a different order. Remember, you kind of want to make it that flow of the house, but you can see it's really nice when you have the floor plans, that those renderings, so that we know, where is the kitchen versus the great room. So if you wanted to do, so I'm going to do labels here. The labels and descriptions can be done. So if you've put all your photos in and now they're out and you're sitting there on your phone and you want to label each photo, let's face it, we generally don't always have time to label all 99, but if you're sitting there on your phone, you can easily go in and edit them right from here. So I think it just makes it a lot easier to do. I like the layout. I think it's very, very easy to see and add everything in. And as I mentioned, it really is just about having all of the things that we now can do on our phones. Before, we could do limited things on our phones, but we really couldn't do everything. Where now we literally can go in and just literally soup to nuts on our listings. We can change it. So if you wanted to edit your photos, as I mentioned, this is another enhancement that we didn't have in HomeSnap. You can pull the photos in from your phone. So we get a lot of calls in our tech department, and they'll say, Colleen, I went into my listing, I took all the photos, and they're on my phone. How do I get them from my phone to Paragon to put the listing in? So now you can actually do that partial listing. You can upload the photos right from your phone in Paragon Connect, which makes it a lot easier. You don't have to transfer the photos. They're coming right from the source. The image editor, you know that the editing in Paragon proper, in Paragon, the Paragon MLS, not a lot of editing. You can crop, you can rotate. I think that's it. And here, of course, you can crop, you can rotate, you can flip it. But you also can, maybe you want to draw an arrow to point something out in your photos. You can use shapes to point things out. You can add text to a photo. Remember the text. Let me say this because somebody's going to inevitably call me and say, you said I could add text. I added my phone number, and you can't put contact information in your photos. Remember, that's an MLS rule. But let's say you wanted to add more light, or you wanted to reduce the brightness. Can't do that in Paragon, but you can actually see that you can do that right through Paragon Connect. There's some filters that you can use. You can also, if it's pixelated, you can reduce that. You can add a little bit more brightness if you've kind of got a dim photo. So I think more and more people are going to be gravitating. If you're pulling them in from your phone, this is an easier way, and you have a lot more capability to do that editing. All right, and if there's any questions, go ahead, and I know I'm kind of talking fast, so I can get it all in here. But if there's any questions, go ahead and throw those in the questions box. The best thing I can tell you, because we've had to move over to this so quickly, the best thing I can tell you is if you haven't downloaded the app, download it now, because you're good. As you start using it, you will see it's got everything. The next quarter, they're adding a bunch more enhancements. You're going to be able to pull contacts in from your phone very easily. They're adding even more in the photo editing. So more is coming there. And I think that you'll see it now is going to really have some great mobile capacity. Remember, they've only had 3 months to make this change, because HomeSnap literally got killed in November. So I think they've done a great job of pivoting what was really supposed to be a companion product to the Collab Center to now a full-blown mobile app. So, and a lot of good things to come, trust me. If you want to manage a contact or pull up contact information, again, if you go over to this hamburger stack to the left, let's say I wanted to call my Barry buyer. I can go right into Barry buyer. Maybe I want to email him. Maybe I just want to open up his contact record. All of that contact information is right there. I can also see, as long as you set them up in the Collab Center, how many favorites they may have, what's been, rejected, if they didn't like a home that was automatically sent to them in the Collab Center, communications, message history, things that were sent out in the Collaboration Center to this particular Barry buyer. I can track all of that. So remember, it has that CRM capability that you have in the Collab Center, on top of becoming now a mobile app where I can search everything, and you can also add clients in very quickly and easily when you need to. So again, contacts pulls you right into this section. You can filter contacts, easily search for contacts, easily add contacts. So it just makes it a little bit easier. And then, of course, if you want to find your listings, I actually used someone else's listing because I don't have a current active listing. Again, if you wanted to go into resources, we are not turning on Affiliate Connect, so you will not see this one. But again, you'll have all of the other options that you see here. So hopefully that's kind of a good tour. Remember, the big takeaway is they're making it better and better. It does now open to your contacts. I always wanted to open to my map. There is a power search here too. So if you want to find 123 Main Street, just like you can in Paragon Connect, 123 Main Street, really, really easy. Whoops. And so again, Paragon Connect right on your resources tab. Right here, you've got your power search. This is going to allow you to type in 123 Main Street and find a property very quickly with very little information. You still have your hot sheet. So if you were, let's say you're calling expires today, you can pull up your hot sheet and make those calls. But the biggest enhancement that I'm hoping will come very, very soon is that the opening right to your map. Be sure that when you do open up to your map that you do hit allow. And I tell people, I'm not going to remember mine because I want to show it classes, but I tell people just check that, remember that decision. You always wanted to know where you are, right? If you're sitting somewhere and you're trying to pull up the house across the street, you want it to just automatically pull you there. So just remember, you want to give it that permission base. You're going to hit allow. Once you do that, because it has to have your permission to follow you, right? It's a location service. Once you do that, it's going to hone into exactly where you're sitting on either your laptop or your phone. Remember, if you're searching, your filter is right up here at the top, and that's going to allow you to put in the criteria that you're looking for. All right, so hopefully, and you can change your views. You can do, again, you can do the street view. You can do the, walking down the, you can change your reports. So hopefully this gave you kind of a good bird's eye tour of why you want to download the new Paragon Connect. So we talked about Club we talked about Paragon Connect. A couple of other things that I want to just briefly touch on. I'm not going to go too far because there's a whole class on these other items, but one is the new showing time. If you're not aware, showing time was purchased by Zillow not too long ago, and they're making some changes, but they are also enhancing their UI, meaning how it overall responds. I am a big fan of how easy showing time has made it. 97% of our state actually uses showing time, so it's easy to schedule on other people's listings. One of the key takeaways is if you are in there and you are trying to show properties, doing things like creating a showing time cart. So if you'll allow me, I'm going to show it. Again, it's the same thing. If you do it on your phone, it's going to be the exact same interface, just a little bit easier for me to keep not having to bounce around quite so much. So where I'm going to start is I'm going to talk about the Collab Center, which is the paragon, kind of like, think of it like auto prospecting. When you set up your search for your client that he wants 3 bedrooms with an attached garage and a finished basement in this city or this city, you save that search, you turn on the Collab Center, and basically what happens is anytime a new property comes up with their haves and wants, it's immediately sent over to your buyer. And of course, you can see that. There's even things like you can approve it. I often tell a story about my yellow siding lady. If you've not heard this story, if you have, I apologize, you're going to hear it again. But basically, I had a wonderful lady who, one of those clients that really just becomes your friend at the end of the deal. And we're sitting at the closing table, and she said, my sister just said that she is going to start looking for her house. I gave her your contact information. You should reach out to her. So, I'm thinking this woman was such a gem of a lady. I thought, it'll be great working with her sister. I'll probably be just like her. Not so much. She was the polar opposite. Our second call went like this: Colleen, if you send me one more yellow-sided home, I'm going to find another agent. And my reaction was, first of all, I was surprised because I don't think she ever mentioned she didn't like yellow-sided. First of all, if you know the MLS, there is no remove yellow-sided houses button, right? It doesn't work like that. So in this case, what you can do is you can set up a preview, which comes to you as the agent. If you think, oh, it doesn't have yellow siding, you hit allow, it goes to the client. If it has yellow siding, you hit disapprove, and it never makes it to the client. So there are all these really great tools. You can also do agent recommends. They can go in and search with their fingertip themselves. It has a lot of great tools. People often get confused by the Collaboration Center because I tell you resources is your toolbox, and they don't see a Collaboration Center button. And that's because it's so easy. It's really a saved search that you marry to a contact. And that's how you turn the Collaboration Center on. So I'm going to kind of show you exactly how you can access the Collaboration Center if you've already started using it. These are all of my contacts. As you can see, I do a lot of teaching as well. So we've got a lot of Barry buyers in here. This is that approval where I can click on and decide whether I want it to go to the client or not. But this is their view. And this is where they can go in, they can see new listings as soon as they come out. They can collaborate with other people, like husbands and wives can say, yes, I like this one, I don't like this one. But one of the key things that you can do, and I'm just going to kind of show it to you real quick so you kind of get an idea. One of the key things you can do in the Collaboration Center, and this was a real life client we just closed on their home, they can see things that get sent to them and they can favorite what they like. So they get them right away. They get them immediate. And I tell people this is actually better than Zillow and Realtor.com and these others, because these others are in a feed. By the way, these feeds, if an agent clicks on it to claim it or a homeowner claims it, it breaks that feed and all of a sudden it doesn't update. So sometimes they're seeing it as active and it closed 30 days ago, right? So it's not always accurate. This is the actual MLS. So in my welcome message, I tell them, I set you up an account in the MLS like an agent, like me, because it is. But they get these things immediately, but they can go in and they can say, they can ask questions. They can even give you a time they would like to see it, which emails you the time and the property that they want to see. So I can go in, I can favorite it. And now you, the agent, immediately get that notification that things have been favorited, which I love because now I know they want to see that property. The advantage to having things favorited, and I'm just going to grab our buyer here. I'm going to say that they favorited 2 properties. I can click on that number 2 and I can see one's active and one's my least favorite status, ABO. I'm going to say that I want to go ahead and I want to schedule on these 2 properties. Okay, so how do I do that? Well, instead of scheduling them one by one and grabbing the map and figuring out where are we going to start, how long is it going to take us to get there, especially if they're kind of far apart, you can actually just go to this actions button right up here at the top. The actions button allows me to take these directly into showing time. Now, again, if you haven't checked out the new, they call it the next generation, this is the look. And so don't wait till the last minute because you don't want to try to do this with your buyer, right? While they're standing next to you. So you do want to start getting familiar with it. We don't have a date that the old one's going away. So don't worry. It's not like it's going to be cut off tomorrow. But there will be a day where it's not available. So it's a good idea to start getting familiar with it now. But what I like is, did you see how I brought those two listings over for us? It's also going to show you on the map where those two listings are located. Now, if you had 3 or 4, you might want to put this in a smart route because remember, it's kind of dropping them in the way they came in from the MLS. So if you wanted to smart route these, you can literally say, you know what, I want to put these in a better route. So you can, and with 2, it's a little bit harder to do, but you can actually smart route them. Or if it's easier, you can actually grab these little lines here and just drag and drop them in the order that you want. So maybe you want to start off with Leach and not Mara. It also will show you the drive time. So if you've got a 30-minute drive time and you're trying to schedule your appointment windows, well, you can actually see, oh, it's only going to take 1 minute. This is going to be an easy one, right? You can also select your start time from here. But what I like is if you click on this availability, and I like that when you click on, helps if you click on it, Colleen. If you click on availability, you can see if there's any grayed out times or if there's overlapping showings, or if they don't allow overlapping showings, you'll see an area where you can't schedule in. So let's say I wanted this Leach here. I can see that maybe 1 o'clock would be a good time. So I'm going to do my start time as 1 o'clock. That's now adding Leach to my schedule if I want to keep track on my calendar, as well as it's showing me that it's going to be from 1 to 2 here. And then I know it's pretty close, so maybe I want to do this one at 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Now I can go ahead and send all of my requests very easily from here. So let's say I want to send this one from 2 to 2:30. Now that's on my schedule. All I have to do now, and by the way, you can add additional listings because I always seem to get those buyers who I'm walking out the door, I set up the whole tour, right? Got it all looking good. And then they say, Colleen, we found one more house. And you're like, oh, yippee. So you could actually go in and add another listing right from here. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit further. It will ask you, obviously, there is a central lock lockbox. Do you have access to central lock or not? Because it's going to need to know if you need a code or if you can just open it right from the app. And then all I have to do is hit submit request, and it's going to go ahead and start the scheduling process. So whether it needs to be confirmed or whether it's just going to send me that go and show. So there's also additional information here. You can send a note to the agent. You could remove a listing. You could maybe update your appointment time right from here. So it's giving you all the things you could do and a few more from the previous version of showing time. All right, so hopefully that helped a little bit. That's another mobile feature. Now I can see these. By the way, you can see these right on your phone in Showing Time the Next Generation. You can make changes to it. You can see all your feedback. You can obviously update your listing, showing instructions on the fly if you need to. And they also have, I'm just going to, you can also see your things that you have scheduled or appointments that you may have coming up on your listings right from here. So pretty easy. It does everything that the previous one does. It's just you get a little bit more of a modern look. So do go ahead and update to that next generation. You can always go back, but it does give you, you do want to start learning it because the old one is eventually going away. Okay. The last thing I want to show you is, and there's a whole class on this, so I promise I'm only going to keep you just a couple of moments. But a lot of people are unaware that Transaction Desk has an app. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Colleen, would you really fill out an entire listing agreement on your phone? And the answer is no, I absolutely would not. However, there are times I need to send a document from my transaction desk that I already had filled out to be countered, or I need to send it out for signature. You can do all that through the app. The other thing you can do, which I love, is if somebody just sent you a document. Let's say you're sitting on this webinar right now, and somebody just sent you a bottom line PA. Well, wouldn't it be nice if you could just click on something and put it in that file? Did you know you can actually do that with the Transaction Desk app? I did not for a long time. So I just thought I would tell you because I figure, it's nice when we all spread the word, right? So if you have the Transaction Desk app, and I'm going to actually switch over one last time here. I apologize. I know it takes a couple of seconds, but I promise it will be worth it. Um, kill Kubicasa here so that you can see it. The Transaction Desk app, if you've not downloaded that, you do want to have that downloaded because, again, in my real estate file, I want to have all of that quick and easy. And I actually go back to my list of apps. Sorry, I know it does take a second. I apologize. Okay. You should be able to see this in about 10 seconds. There we go. Okay, so let me just share it so it's not so. I hate when you see all that messy stuff behind it. I think it's my OCD, but okay, there we go. All right. So, Transaction Desk. The Transaction Desk app puts a little house. Again, go to my real estate folder because it's easy to find. Got our little Transaction Desk house here. So, everything you can do in the Transaction Desk program, you can do from here. Brokers can, let's say that you call your broker for help. I just called. I have a great management team where I work. And so I call Vince, and he takes my call all the time, which is amazing to me. He's just a doll. But anyway, I had a question about it was a land contract. We wanted to buy it on a land contract. It was very weird. So I call him, and the first thing he always says, well, what's the address? What do you have? Let me see the purchase. Right. We always need to see it, right? So here is a way a broker can actually open up the file while you're talking to them, and they can actually see everything in the file without me having to send it, which I love. But there's a little hamburger stack at the top that'll bring you right to your transactions. It will also bring you to your signings. You can open up transactions. If I want to open up 123 Wessel Street, I now can see all of the documents in that file. I can see all the forms. If I want to look at the purchase agreement, I can see all of that. It's right in the app. But what I really like about this, and I just want to point out, and by the way, there's a whole class on this. So if you haven't taken our Transaction Desk class, it's either taught by myself or my very best friend, Lisa Harris, who has been an agent for 30 years as well. It's nice when you have agents teach these classes because they actually use the product, so they know these little tips. It makes a big difference when a technology person teaches it versus someone who actually uses it. But let me show you the big thing I wanted to talk about in my email. And I just sent myself something. It doesn't matter whether it's a PA, maybe it's a pre-approval your lender just sent, whatever it happens to be. When you get that in your email as a PDF attachment, let's say that they just emailed you the pre-approval, and you want to put it in your Transaction Desk file. So when you're writing the offer, hopefully in the kitchen tonight when you're showing the property, you don't have to waste any time. You've got everything in the file. So I'm going to say I want to and I usually like to save it, so I have a copy of it. But basically, I want to take this PDF and I want to put it in the file. This one happens to be the tax records for a property, but let's pretend it's a pre-approval. I'm going to hit this share button. And as you scroll over, these are all of the different places you can share to. I can put it in Google Drive, I can share it via message, right? But if you hit this more button and you have the Transaction Desk app on your phone, you can say, I want to bring this right into my Transaction Desk account. And did you see what just happened? It brought me into Transaction Desk and it said, hey, do you want to add this to an existing transaction? Or do you want to create a new transaction? Or maybe you want to put this in a new signing that you're sending people to sign. So maybe it's a PA and you want them to bottom line it right now. So let's say I want to add this to an existing transaction. It's going to open my transaction list. I'm going to say I want to add that to 123 Main Street. I'm going to upload it. It's now part of that transaction. You see how easy that was? So I know there's a whole Transaction Desk class, but I just wanted to highlight why having some of these apps on your phone just makes it so much easier to work out in the field. So anyway, I appreciate all of you hanging in there with me today. It's not easy to show this class because obviously you have to bounce around a little bit. So I appreciate your patience. This is actually the first time I've taught this class. So hopefully you found it beneficial. I didn't go too far into each product because remember, each product has a class on it. So we can show you the full bells and whistles of each product, but hopefully you got enough of a tour to get these apps on your phone and to start using them. So whether it's Kubacasa, whether it happens to be the transaction desk app, which again, all of these are ones I highly recommend. And really, I don't think working would be very easy without them now. So for me, I can't tell you how much I rely on having these apps handy on my phone. Paragon Connect, again, I think it's good now. I think where it's going, I've seen a little taste of where it's going, and I think it's really good. So it's only going to get better. So if I can just encourage you, put the Paragon Connect app on your phone. Make sure you remember that just to click into that map, or if you just want to do a power search to find things very quickly, start playing around with it. Remember, you can find Paragon Connect right inside of Paragon now. So you can actually click on that Paragon Connect. That's going to take you right in. Remember that the key really, because I think it should just open to this. I think I've mentioned that. But the key really is you want to go to that map, to that location services. Make sure you select allow. And then hopefully in the very near future, it will just open there for you. Great question. Thank you, Holly, for reminding me. I so appreciate it. Okay, so yes, I did record this class. And again, I appreciate you bearing with me. This is the first time we've taught this new mobile class. And where you can find these recordings and every single other class that we recorded, let me show you where that is. Thank you, Holly, for reminding me because I would have forgot. So what we try to do is I keep sort of mentioning that I hate it when people move my cheese. If you've ever read that book, don't move my cheese. Just agents were busy enough. We want to go to one spot and find everything. So I keep mentioning that resources is going to be where all your tools are located. So if you want to go back to this recording, and it'll take me, give me till at least tonight to get it uploaded for you. If you want to go back to this recording, what you're really going to do is you're going to go to this resources section and you'll find a whole education section. I just became the director of education at my real source, so making some changes. We're going to have a lot of classes, but we're going to be introducing some brand new things coming next month. So we're all getting trained on them right now. So there's not going to be too many classes for this month, but what you will see is starting May 1st, you will see one of every class on the schedule. So it's coming, I promise. We're trying to get through this new training of some stuff that's going to be announced very soon. It's not announced yet. I'd probably be in big trouble if I told you ahead. So watch for it. But next month, there'll be a big announcement about some new exciting things that will be going on with my real source that you can take advantage of. But to watch this recording, you're going to go to the Education Center, Education section, and you'll find recorded webinars. So every class that we do, we record so that you can go back if you missed something or you had to step away. So basically, this takes you to our YouTube channel. But we don't want you to have to hunt it down. It's my real source media. We don't want you to have to hunt for it. Here's the key. If you click on this little playlist button right here, we've tried to organize these. So let's say you wanted to watch the full Kubacasa class, because there's a lot more to Kubacasa than I was able to show, because we kind of are doing this like a combo style, if you will. Let's say you wanted to watch the full Kubacasa class. You could just click on View Playlist. And you could pick, and it has the dates of when the classes were done. So you'll see today's date after our mobile class, but you can just pick on it and you can actually fast forward to the exact part that you were looking for. So keep in mind, for this class, you will see that, I think we've labeled that under, actually, I'm probably going to put a new playlist up for this one, because again, we've taught a mobile class, but it's really been on HomeSnap. And now that we don't have HomeSnap anymore, we won't be showing that. So I'll probably create a brand new playlist that will be labeled because there's a mobile agent here. I probably will name this one the new mobile agent class. So if you missed anything today, just go to the new mobile agent playlist and it will be there. So if you want to see previous, again, I wouldn't view these because the problem with that is we don't have, we've just started showing Paragon Connect over the last couple of months. And a lot of those did contain some home snap information. So now that that's gone, look for that new mobile agent playlist, and I'll put this class in there. It'll have today's date, 3/13, next to it, and that way you can fast forward to anything that you may have missed, or maybe you just need a recap or a little refresher on some of the highlights. So I appreciate all of your time. Let me see if there's any more questions. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate the kind words, especially since it's a new class. And I wanted to show you all the things that I thought were really interesting. I thought was really interesting as an agent. And a lot of those things like pulling in forms from your phone or editing pictures, no one showed me. And I thought, gosh, there's got to be a better way to do this. So thank you so much for all the kind words. Thank you, Holly. I'll get that recording uploaded here for you. And happy selling, everybody. Go get some listings because, boy, we need some spring inventory. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day.